This is Algebra 1, Lesson 31, Practice. We're going to be solving equations with parentheses. Here's problem A. We're going to eliminate the parentheses on the left side, and since these are not like terms, we can't combine them, so we're going to have to use the distributive property. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then we have a minus sign, and then negative 3 times c would be negative 3c equals c minus 2. Now you can see here that we have a minus a negative. You can think of that as the opposite of negative 3. So that's going to end up being negative 6 plus 3c equals c minus 2. And a lot of times people notice that when they're distributing and they say, okay, I know this is negative 6. This is going to be negative 3 times the opposite of c, which would be a positive 3c or plus 3c. But you can do it in 2 steps like I did here if you would like. We eliminated the parentheses. Now we're going to add like terms on both sides. No like terms here, no like terms here. So we get to skip that step. Eliminate x on one side or the other. Well, they're talking about the variable here, so c. We can subtract 3c from both sides or subtract c. I would rather subtract c from both sides. So I have negative 6. 3c's minus 1c is a positive 2c, and that equals negative 2. Now we're going to eliminate the constant term that's with the variable. So we can add 6 to both sides. And we get 2c is equal to negative 2 plus 6 is positive 4. Now we're going to eliminate the coefficient of the variable. They're multiplying by 2, so we're going to divide both sides by 2. And we get c is equal to 2. And that's your answer for the first one. Here's B. Eliminate parentheses. Again, no like terms here, no like terms on this side. So what are we distributing? We're distributing a negative 1 to both of these, which means you're just going to change the signs. So this is minus 6c plus 5. Okay? Now, I want to go back to that one just a second. I could have written it as minus 6c minus a negative 5. But what would have happened? It would have ended up being plus 5, right? Equals, we're going to distribute here the 4. So we're going to have 28c minus 32 and then plus 3. Now we are going to add like terms on both sides, but there are no like terms on the left. And on the right side, we've got a negative 32 plus a 3. That's going to be 28c minus 29. Eliminate x on one side or the other. So we got to get rid of a variable. We could add 6c to both sides or subtract 28c from both sides. Let's add 6c. We get 5 is equal to 34c minus 29. We're going to eliminate the constant term with the variable. So we're going to add 29 to both sides. That's 34 equals 34c. 34 times some number is equal to 34. And we can see what it's going to be, can't we? Let's divide both sides by 34, which is eliminating the coefficient. And we find out that c is equal to 1. Problem C. Eliminate parentheses. Now notice with this one, this is very different from any of the examples or any of the other practice problems. We do have like terms in here. And we do have like terms in here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to copy down this opposite or negative sign. 7 minus 9 is negative 2. And then there's going to be a z minus 6. Z equals 8, and that's going to be times Negative 6 plus 2 would be negative 4. So we have eliminated the parentheses. But we need to kind of clean this up a little bit so we can add our like terms on both sides. Notice that you have a opposite of a negative here. So that's going to just be positive 2z minus 6z equals, and we can multiply this. This is negative 32. So notice we didn't have to use the distributive property in this problem because there were like terms inside of the parentheses, which is what I've been warning you about, but we haven't seen that, have we? 2z minus 6z is negative 4z equals negative 32. So now we've combined those like terms. It says eliminate x on one side or the other, but we only have one variable now, so we can skip step 3. It's already done. Eliminate the constant term that's with the variable. This side does not have a constant term, so that's already done. Eliminate the coefficient of x. They're multiplying by negative 4, so let's divide both sides by negative 4. And we get z is equal to positive 8. And that's the answer to C.